welcome. This is Playing Favorites. I'm Paul.
I'm Justin,
Hello, Justin. We're back.
or should I say Benoit? Justin Benoit.
Dun-dun, dun-dun,
The
bum. I love the original look down the scope in
original.
in like the first I don't know 4 or 5 movies. They
Mm-hmm.
use that footage of it's just like a man from the 1950s just walking like do do
Mm-hmm.
do.
It's in black and white too, which I think is kind of
Yeah.
neat too. So.
And it's not like slick or anything. It really is like a guy like quick draw trying
Mm-hmm.
to kill
Yeah, it,
somebody.
it evolves really weird. Like I love how they keep it. Like they never
Yeah,
they never take it, never get rid of it,
interesting touch.
and it doesn't really evolve that much. But like we'll get into it though, because we're going to talk about it obviously soon, which we'll
We
talk
will.
into. But like one other thing is like Roger Moore's one is funny because it's like he shoots and he just like walks towards the barrel and it's like him smiling. It's like weird.
Hmm, that is weird. That is weird. I have okay. As we get
We'll get
into
into
this,
it. We'll get into it.
let's just tell everybody what we're doing. So, hello.
Hi.
If you if you've stuck with us, um, and through our excitement, we're actually doing another tier list video today, and we are taking on the 007 James Bond movies, all of them. We are going to rank them, and this is
We're doing the
something
best we
that is
can.
a what's that?
Do the best we can.
Yes, yes, and with the limited knowledge that we have, in some cases, I mean, I think we could say you've seen all of them. I've seen most of them. The more modern ones, we've missed a couple, but I think didn't you just watch? Did you
Hmm.
watch Spectre
Yeah,
recently?
in preparation, I'm honestly on a kick now. Ever since we decided we're going to do this, like I watched Spectre, it makes me want to watch No Time to Die, which is the one after. We'll go into that, but like
Oh, okay.
I've seen all of the Bond movies. Whether or not I think there might be a couple that I haven't seen like all in one sitting because of the marathons I used to do. But like
Ditto,
but
yeah.
I showed you my collection. I should have brought it in here. I have like almost every single one of them, like on
I
DVD.
and when Justin had earlier in the week had bemoaned the fact he couldn't find his copy of License to Kill, soon enough, I started getting pictures in my Discord from Justin, just like, oh, there's a set of 7. Oh, and another. Like you had spent
Well,
the time and
all the
unearthed them all.
because we don't
It's like,
really
yes,
yeah, we don't
you're
really use DVDs that much
what?
anymore, and we had put like a bunch of them, like a lot of our Disney ones too. We threw in a duffel bag, and like, but then this duffel bag had two like side pockets, like the
Oh,
zippers on the side, and I'm like, oh, there's ones in
that's
here, and
where
that's where it was. There was in there.
That's where a
It was
secret agent would
yeah,
hide his
yes.
DVDs. Yes, the side pouch on the duffel bag. Ba-da-bum. So, I am really excited to go through this, especially because the homework to refamiliarize ourselves
Sure.
with this, your advice was the greatest, like looking back at the old trailers. First of all, how much did they give away in those old
Well,
trailers?
yeah, and we talked about this right before we logged on, and it's just like they don't give away as much as you think. Because I remember a lot of the film, but like when
Yeah.
you feel like it's giving away like the entire movie. Like even the later ones do too. Like I know shots that are in the film that are like, oh my god, this is like the last scene where like this person dies, but you don't really know they're dying because it's a trailer. Like you don't like understand that. But yeah, it is. But like they go through every little detail. Like it's like some of the earlier ones. It's like this is this person, and this is the narrator tells you the entire like cast. Like
It's like, and you won't believe his new arch nemesis. He'll be revealed 3/4 of the way through the film, and it won't be who you think it is. It's this
yeah,
guy right here.
yeah,
Just reveal. I will give them credit. They didn't reveal Blof Blofeld. How
Blofeld.
do you say it? They didn't reveal him. They just kind of like hinted at him in a trailer, and it was like, okay, that's
Yeah,
nice. There were other villains
yeah.
to like distract with.
Yeah, because they don't Blofeld in the earlier movies. It's like the claw from Doctor Get, like
Yeah,
Inspector Get.
like a red,
It's just a
not a red
cat.
herring, but like
You just see a cat. That's it. But like later on, he's just like, oh yeah, he's here. Like, and then he just eventually goes away. But like, But yeah, some of the trailer, the one thing we joke about is like half the trailer is just like girls, girls, girls.
And they really are taking advantage of the technology of the early 60s in putting different colors and different fonts of the same word over and over
Technicolor.
on the screen. Bond, 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 Bond.
Well,
Girls, girls, girls,
the
girls.
narrator is so funny in all of them. It's like a bad salesman. It's like this is the best Bond, action
Oh,
packed. He's back.
yeah.
He's like you've been waiting for it. Like
It's like I wanted to tell him, like, you don't have to sell it like that, guy. Like, we're here for it. It's like overselling it in a weird way. And it's like,
sure.
you won't believe your, but it really is like, especially for the first couple, like Dr. No and specifically that from Russia with Love,
Hmm.
the narration of the trailer is very specific, but like oddly specific. Like something about like Sean Connery's like hairy chest
Yeah.
and just dropping weird like nuggets of information. You're like,
All right.
oh, thank you, I guess. You're gonna learn about that in the movie.
Oh man.
But anyway, so in Doctor No, this is the very first of the Bond movies.
Hmm.
It is, we get that great, Bond, Bond, and girls, and it's like they're trying to give you a big like the big idea of what James Bond is. He's everything the novel character is like, you know.
Hmm.
That's really the push of the movie. So he's doing everything. It's a great film. It's like the
I
quintessential
mean, and the thing with
James Bond.
Doctor No that I'll have to admit to, like, yes, it's the first one, so I don't want to put it like at the bottom of the list. Uh, but I don't think it's the best Bond either. Like I don't think it's like way up there because it's like it is definitely the one that Austin Powers I think makes fun of the most. Like
Uh,
it is the
yeah,
cheesiest. It is the cheesiest one. It is like it's like people in like Doctor No is a
okay.
weird. Doctor No is an interesting villain. I think a lot of the Bond movies too. Like if you have a good villain, generally you can deal with all the other stuff that's in it. You know what I mean? If you really like the villain in the Bond movie, that kind of decides whether or not you've liked the Bond movie or not in the end.
Sure.
Because I was looking through the list of like actors for Bond villains, they generally get some good actors for these things. Like I mean,
Yeah.
they're names that I didn't know of when I was a kid, but then I'm just like, oh, he was Bond villain, cool. But as far as Doctor No, I would almost put that. I mean, what's your initial tier ranking?
I wouldn't put it above a B. I just,
Yeah,
I felt like it's the first one. It is cheesy in its way, and it does get better from here, obviously. But um, yeah, it's not like
I was thinking
it's
about
pretty
this
good.
one.
I mean, I would put it in the top 10 of the
Yeah,
Bond films
yeah, I would put it
for
up
sure.
at the letter at this tier. Not it's not like awesome because it is really it's like it Bond movies just get so much better later on.
But this is a
Um,
good start. It sets the mold for like what,
yeah,
the Bond movies try to
yeah.
accomplish. So,
I like what's
no,
weird with me is like I feel like if Doctor No was like the 10th Bond film, I actually would almost put it lower
oh
because of
yeah.
the you know what I mean. But like because it's the first one and it's like the beginning of it, and you got to give it a little bit of respect. So I would put it
Yeah.
there.
And really, like, I feel like that's watching the trailer for it. You hear them. It's like they're trying to explain this is a different kind of movie. Like this is not a serious actor. Like he's also going to be like quipping and making funny puns while he's killing people and making out with women that are sexy and dangerous.
Always in a
He's
bikini
they
all
gotta
the
like
time.
explain it all. Like, come on, you gotta come see this. Like, it's gonna be so cool.
But yeah, so I would
All right.
definitely put there.
All right,
For
moving on. Moving on. Next year. This is so strange
how
looking at this
every
like
year there's a
year
Bond movie.
yearly sequel.
Yeah.
We nowadays are like, oh my gosh, every year with a movie in this franchise or that franchise. But they were doing it back then. That's crazy.
Well, it's funny because it's like, would you consider like the like? I mean, how many franchises? Like, I know now we get like sequels and remakes and all that stuff, but like, is this like the biggest movie franchise? Like, there's 25 of these films.
It's the most consistent because they at least from what I can gather, don't seem to discriminate against who plays Bond.
Yeah,
In that,
that's
like
true.
Bond can change. As long as if you can accept that, then you can then that's like what the core of like the franchise is. It's like it's a series of movies, all sorts of directors, all sorts of writers. Everybody
It's
kind of
all
like
based
takes a
on the
stab at
same the books that they're
yeah.
based on, but
But now they're
yeah.
beyond the books in a lot of ways. Like they do a lot of things either like Casino Royale is like a remake of the first one, right?
Well, Casino Royale was never made in the original movie. Like Casino Royale is the first book.
Yeah,
So, but they just never made it with Sean Connery necessarily.
correct. That's the one with George Lazenby, right?
No, no,
No?
no.
Oh.
So Casino Royale was never really made until Casino Royale, from my understanding. George Lazenby has nothing to do with the casino. Just nothing. I don't think that ever happened. There was a Casino Royale movie. I was looking into this a
Yeah.
little bit. There was one, but it was like completely not a Bond movie. They just called it Casino Royale. Like,
Okay.
yeah, it was
Yeah,
weird. And like,
because it has like 26% on Rotten Tomatoes,
yeah,
and it's a I guess it's a parody
the
of the
parody.
Bond movies,
It's
but
a
it's
par-
really
Yeah,
pandering terrible. It's like one of those um not another teen movies.
yeah. Like I pulled up a Wikipedia page, and I was gonna get into it later because it actually relates to Never Say Never Again. But like this one company, Warner, I think one company owned the rights to Casino Royale, and
Uh,
that's why they made the
uh,
parody movie, and then they made Never Say Never Again. But then they eventually make the Daniel Craig movie. Like it's just like this long,
yeah,
drawn out like rights battle process.
but
It's
then it eventually gets made, but it's only in the modern era that it actually
Yeah, like it's weird, but like they just
truly
never made the
wow,
first book for some reason.
funny.
They just decided to start with Doctor No. I don't know for what reason. I didn't really look into that, but like yeah, they just never made it with Sean Connery or Roger Moore or any of them. The
But
actual Casino Royale.
it's like part of the charm of the franchise though now is that it is so like weird and checkered in that way.
Well, and I
Like
think it was nice to have him start off as like this awesome spy because Casino Royale is like kind of his like intro. You know, it's like his origin story in a sense. As becoming a double O in a sense. But
yeah.
but uh but anyways,
Quick question for you.
hmm
Um, can you see my camera by the way? I think if
I
I
probably don't because I pulled up a browser to look up something and it does that for some reason.
haha, I've returned. It's okay. So that was okay. Let's talk number two. Let's get to our next one here. It's From Russia with Love, 1963.
I
This one is a much more like fast-paced. It's a Cold War movie.
hmm
You know, like this is it definitely has like a more I don't know prescient or your the stakes are higher and it's a little bit like sharper and
it's a
fast-paced.
better
And
made movie. Oddly, it's funny because I don't.
this is the
It's
one I have the most experience remembering
great because
watching.
this is like one of the least memorable Sean Connery movies I have.
Oh,
Like I guess what's one of the least I there's moments in the movie I was watching clips from it because I mean it's been a while since I've seen it. I guess I just don't remember the bad guy. Like I can't remember who the villain was. That's the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
problem. Like I remember moments and scenes, and that's the problem with Bond movies. Is when I was going through the trailer, like you could literally just say, well, okay, this is all the same movie. Like it's literally all looks the same. Like a lot of the action scenes, they literally had like three trailers I watched had like toboggan scenes and skiing. Like it was just like, but like I know I remember it being a better made Bond movie, and a lot of cool gadgets were introduced. I feel like that was the one where he has like the rocket pack.
So
Um,
this is yes, they do.
yeah, so like I
They
remember
show it in
like
the trailer too. They show
all
him in the rocket
yeah,
suit.
all of that stuff was great. I just
Mhm.
can't remember who like the bad guy was. Like that's the
And
only
to tell you
problem.
the truth, I can't remember who it is either. But it's just like it's like classic like spy story, like
Yeah,
spy novel kind of plot that thickens and the the gadgets, especially like they're like cracking some like Soviet crypto device. That's like
Hmm.
they're like trying to crack their like whatever their communications. So, and of course it ends up on the Orient Express, like on that
Yeah. Okay.
famous like
I remember.
train. So
So
it is like all spy cliches thrown into one,
yeah, the
but
plot
it's
is
kind of
way
like the
better.
first time
It's
it's
less
done.
like cheesy Doctor No's crazy scientist on an island thing.
Yeah.
It's more spy intrigue, and yeah, I do. I would put it at Agent. I wouldn't say it's my like top thing, but it's definitely better than Doctor No from what I remember. What do you think?
Um, where do you say? Yeah,
Above
I'd
Doctor
put
No.
it. I'd put it at Agent. I'd put it there.
Okay,
Yeah, definitely better than Doctor No. Like it's.
so
Oh,
Goldfinger now. I'm throwing that way up there. I'm sorry. I just,
I know you're going. I was expecting you to put it right at 007.
oh
That's
my
why
gosh. I mean, I've
I
watched
wanted to
Goldfinger
make
so many freaking times. You don't
and
understand.
it is full of so many iconic moments too, and
Was
iconic lines. Like yes,
and
him being strapped to the thing with the laser coming up between his legs, and
yeah,
saying like, "Do you expect me to talk?"
yeah.
No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
You know what makes Goldfinger so great?
Mm,
Like, and I think it's the best Sean Connery one. Um,
mm,
Personally, it's just the relationship between Goldfinger and Bond. Like, he's with him a lot throughout the movie, and then you have like, which is funny because her name is Pussy Galore, but still, like, oh, it's so again, you have Odd Job in there. Like, it's just there's so many iconic moments. Plus, I love the plot. It's such a silly concept because he's obviously obsessed with gold. But the
yes.
idea isn't like you think throughout the movie he's trying to steal all the gold in Fort Knox. Like that's the entire premise of the movie. But the idea he doesn't actually steal it. He just goes in and just like he tries to radiate it to make it not worth its value, so that all of his gold is worth more. I thought that was kind of a nice little twist versus just a robbery. You know what I mean? Like, but
Yes, that's what makes a Bond villain, and what becomes something that's Bond villain-esque is when it's not just as straightforward, like I want to steal this because it's valuable. It becomes I'm going to destroy this to make my what I already have even more valuable, and I will be even more powerful. Like it's truly maniacal, you
mhm.
know. That's what I mean. I remember when we did was it just favorite villain? That was one of your was
Yeah,
Goldfinger your
Goldfinger
favorite
was yeah he
villain?
was up there. Yeah,
I
he was up
remember
there.
you're like I knew you were going to put this right up at the top because I remember how much you gushed just about his character
Oh, it's so
because
good.
he is the first like really like personal like I don't know rival in a film like that
Hmm.
for because you're right from Russia with Love I don't even remember and I feel like it's not important who was the final it might have just been like a series of people.
Yeah, like because it was more about your he was working with the Russian spy, which was the Bond girl, but like, and it was just more of the everything he did up until the end, and I just don't remember any kind of like final fight or anything like that. But Goldfinger, I just man, it's just so many great things, so many great scenes. You know, Odd Job was awesome. Like I could gush so much about this movie. It could be what it could be. It probably is my favorite Bond movie. It's hard for me to say no to that. Like it's such a good movie.
No, no, and
Oh,
hey, well, let's
well,
keep going
there's another
next
one
week.
that could compete
Yeah,
against it.
we'll see where these
Now,
guys will end up.
Thunderball. Like I
1965.
yeah I can't really like I remember liking Thunderball, but like I know I told you this before you started doing this tier that like I remember like I when I used to like look into Bond stuff more because I was huge into it when I was in high school, middle school, and I remember everyone loved Thunderball. Like as far as just it was more of a revered Bond movie. I mean, the trailer makes it seem like it was definitely more action packed, like the underwater battles they would do because they're like in
Yes.
scuba gear and stuff. Like it is cool to see the progression of effects as you go through the trailers to get my like the remembrance of it. But I don't
That is
remember.
the one that is the one bit of credit I can give it is that it had like set pieces that were pretty cool. Like, there were some
Hmm.
really. So I agree with you, and that's as much as I have to say about this one.
Sure. Like I
So
wouldn't put it. I don't think I would put it as good as this one. I don't think it was a bad Bond film. I
I'd
would
put it
almost
in
I would
tier
almost put it
one.
right here. Like, 'cause it's just not memorable enough for me. I've seen it, I've watched it. And unfortunately is one of the ones I just don't own. So like it was one of the ones I couldn't watch a lot of. So like
Yeah.
that could be a factor of that
Why don't
too.
we why don't we put that one in not seen? Because honestly, like
I mean,
I
I've
don't
seen
have a
it.
great opinion of it either. I only saw it once and I didn't think anything of it. Like
Not enough.
NA, not
Uh,
applicable.
not enough intelligence.
Oh,
I
lack
can't.
of
There we go. Not enough intelligence. What's the next one here? You only die.
now we go back to
I love You Only Die Twice.
Only Live Twice,
You
1967.
only live
First
twice, not die twice.
one.
Because he went to Tokyo, and I freaking love this
Yeah,
movie. And like how
yeah.
it starts off with him like being like pretended to die, like he fakes his death so he
Yes.
can infiltrate
The Murphy
Tokyo.
bed. I love that. I remember seeing that in the marathon. The Murphy bed, and the dudes run in with the
Yep,
machine
it's
guns
just
and light it up. Like, what a great idea. Honestly, what a great idea for a trap. If you had a Murphy bed and you wanted to kill somebody, like rigging it to just like retract.
but I love like the fact that they had like an Asian mafia like kind of a thing, and like him
Yeah,
going to
Vin
it's
Diesel
still.
and a Japanese Bond girl as
Yeah,
well.
like I wouldn't say it was my like I wouldn't put it up on top.
Movies aren't progressive by any means, but it's something.
I would
It's
definitely put it at like Agent though. I wouldn't put any
yeah,
higher.
no, it's good. Well, I would keep it in like B
You go a
tier.
little lower.
This is Bond, James Bond. It's better than the last one, but it's not.
Okay,
It's okay.
I just Tokyo.
It,
It gets
the
me.
story is just kind of. I mean, this one I do remember a good deal from the marathon. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Like scrutinizing the story is like
I I
trying to
I
figure
have to
out
admit
what
I
happened.
don't remember much of the story. I just remember
Well,
like
it's like
seeing him in
it's
Tokyo.
plot of pandemic. You're like by the end, you're like, wait, what? Like, who are you worried about? Like, it's a different. No, remember, like spacecraft goes missing. It's anyway.
Oh, okay. I vaguely remember that.
Like,
Yeah,
is it
I'll have to rewatch that again. But I thought I loved it, but
spaceships
again,
go missing? Or yeah, okay.
all right.
Anyway,
So you were asking me about this beforehand, um,
what's that?
before we started the show. Like, why did he do three, and then George Lazenby comes in and does on how you say it? I can't
On her,
I don't know what I was thinking. I can't. It's the font's so small on these like thumbnails. I can't see what it says.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I love the cover of this by the way. I just almost want to put it in S tier just for the cover art like of the poster.
Yeah.
But on Her Majesty's Service. So what I remember, is that it was a scheduling conflict. So like Sean Connery got bigger, he got more popular,
Okay,
and
yeah.
he just couldn't do the film. And back then, it wasn't like you think about it, it's like movies were kind of like wasn't.
They're entertainment. They're not like
Yeah,
who cares.
yeah. Who
Oh,
cares
you're
about.
getting the factor. Okay.
Yeah, like Sean Connery wasn't the reason. I don't think back then people
There
didn't
wasn't
care as much
a
about it.
Bond fandom. No such thing
Sure,
existed. Fandom
but it
for pop culture in the
it
60s.
it definitely like so they but they still I think wanted to do that annual Bond movie, so they decided just to get somebody different. That's really what it came down to.
And from what it seems like, it was a decent entry. Like
Yeah,
like it was like, yeah, this is a Bond movie.
yep. I mean,
And
I
that's
have a lot of thoughts on that one on Her Majesty's Service. Like, I wouldn't put it as good as like Sean Connery's stuff. Like George Lazenby, he was he was a decent Bond. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great. he did fine. I know you haven't seen it, right? You haven't really got much of opinion on it, right? Or do you remember?
This one I only seen like bits and pieces.
Mm.
Really, just like no, I've never actually sat and watched this movie.
So like, what's interesting about this film is like a lot of cool stuff happens in the movie. He gets buried at the end, like,
Oh,
but then like right at the end, like the bad
this
guy's
is
still alive and shoots him and she dies. It's like a tragic ending.
yes. I think I remember. Like I feel like I've watched like when I learned that there was a who this is. Like I think I watched some YouTube clips of this movie, and that I remember specifically because it's such a like a trope, like a cliche. Like oh, the hero finally settles down and gets married, and it's like oh, she's tragically shot in his
Mm-hmm.
arm.
Yep.
So he's
Yep.
got to keep being James Bond. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So and then you think he kills Blofeld at the end of this? Who's played at by he was played by Kojaks.
Telly Savalas. Yes.
Yep, he was
Yep.
played by Kojaks. So he plays it, and but the ending is it's just so cheesy because they're at a ski lodge most of the movie, and they're like skiing down like a bobsled thing, and then Kojak dies, I think, by him just getting like him hitting a branch. I remember this very vividly for some
Yep.
reason because it was kind of silly and cheesy, but like I thought George Lazenby did fine. Like I thought he was a decent Bond. I didn't hate it, but you definitely knew it was like weird and off because it's like there was just something weird about the whole. It just seemed it wasn't low budget, but it felt like a low budget version of Bond. Like I don't know how else to describe it. Um,
You
but
were
I
watching
liked it. The story
Canadian
was good.
version. You were watching the Canadian version of
Yeah,
James Bond.
there you go.
Like it was pretty good, just slightly
Yeah,
not as good.
yeah. That's why I wouldn't put it up there to the Sean Connery ones because like I don't know. It didn't like. I was actually like when I first watched it, I was like I was expecting it to be bad just because it was George Lazenby and he only had done one movie. I'm like, why did he only get one? Was he that bad? Like, was he like, why didn't he get? Would he get fired after the fact? Like, I was like, but then it was actually not that bad. It's okay. There's worse ones for sure.
Yeah, there are. So really, like, and the more I think about it, this is like the real like characteristic that makes this franchise stick around is that you can just have this happen and it's not the end of the world.
Hmm.
You know, just make a movie like somebody wants to take a break being Bond, and it's like, okay, well, we'll give you a break.
So then Sean Connery comes back for Diamonds Are Forever.
Diamonds Are Forever, one of the best Bond theme songs, I'll say.
Sure, that's for sure.
Uh, Movie, however, I remember how much I was bored in this movie.
Yeah, I thought when I was watching the trailer that my memory was like, oh, I kind of didn't mind Diamonds Are Forever, but now that I saw the trailer, because that's Blofeld comes back, it's played
Yep.
by a different actor. They try to explain why he looks different too, which I thought was funny. Um, but like I don't remember it being like anything super memorable or anything like that. There was moments
So
I think, but I don't really remember the movie.
sadly, for
I
such
would.
like a cool title, cool song, cool concept, sort of, it's more just
It's
like
he literally
a
fights a bunch of girls.
filler episode
He fights
in
a
a
bunch of girls.
series.
I,
Yeah,
I, I was
yeah,
watching
that's
the
how they were
trailer.
like marketing too. It was like, hell, he's back in that trailer. It's like, I'm like, is this supposed to attract people to watch this movie?
Yeah,
Like he's beating women,
yeah,
like, but they're kicking his ass too, so
yep,
it's kind of funny.
yep, yep,
Uh,
yep.
but anyway, no, yeah, it is largely boring, like because it is this just like a very cookie cutter kind of Bond movie, no surprises, just like oh okay, yep, and then I'll get you next time kind of ending and rinse and repeat. So I'd put this in C would be the highest I would put this
I
one.
put it in girls, girls, girls because that's what it is. It's girls, girls, girls. I
Yep,
mean,
you know that's exactly what it is. That's literally it's just eye candy,
yep.
and then I that same eye candy whipping his ass.
Yeah, I just don't think it was like he had way better films. Like I thought the plot of the George Lazenby's version was great better, and I don't think that was very memorable at all. From what
So
for
now you need to help me because is it Live and Let Die or is it The Man with the Golden Gun next?
Live and Let Die's next.
Live and Let Die. Okay.
Yeah. So first Roger Moore movie. I know. I think you've told me you're not a huge Roger Moore fan.
And
Um.
I think I realize why now after watching the trailers from the older ones.
Mhm.
These are much more like the early, like the first two um, Sean Connery Bond movies. They're much more like Batman, the
They're campy
50
and silly and
TV
yeah.
show. Yeah,
I mean, most of them were like I. It's funny because I feel like
it's a tonal change.
Roger Moore fit the tone of these movies though. Oddly enough, like
Yeah,
there was something
yeah.
about him being Roger Moore
He's
that
got a
made
little
it.
smile on his face.
Yeah,
It
like
kind of
he knew that it was meant to be silly. Like George, like Sean Connery was almost too proper and suave.
he takes himself too seriously,
Yeah,
but like Roger Moore is kind of like winking at the camera a little bit
yes.
with you.
So that's why like there's a few Roger Moore movies because like I remember during my marathon times, like as a kid, I liked the silly ones more. I enjoyed these films as far as like the setting and the place and the characters because they get kind of wonky, like in these movies. Like Live and Let Die is is up there on my personal list of one of the movies because I remember watching that. I wouldn't say it's like up here or anything.
Hmm.
I
I
would
would
say
put it in the B
I
in the
would put it
Bond.
up here because it was such
It's
a
a solid
unique
start.
it was a unique setting. He's like in the Day of the Dead. Baron Samedi is such a really cool
Yes,
villain,
yes, yes.
and is
Agreed.
literally he's like fighting like it's a pure '70s like uh environment because it's like a bunch of like I mean it's just black people in the '70s. Like that's all I can say. I don't know how to say it besides that.
It's almost like a black exploitation film a little bit.
Yeah.
That it's like trying to do that same kind of like, this is hip and modern, try to like appeal to young people.
Yep.
And it's funny that this is the way they're doing it, but it is. I can imagine that after the last one, that it was just kind of a cookie cutter Sean Connery Bond.
Hmm.
This would have been like a breath of fresh air for a lot of people. They're
It,
like,
it it was fun. It was a fun
yeah,
movie, and it was just like there's something about like because he wasn't fighting Russians and like
hmm,
it was like
wasn't a Cold War spy film.
it kind of makes me think of like I mean this is a really weird pool, but like how weird the whale movie was in Star Trek episode,
Oh yes,
like
yes,
how they're like going back in time, and it just felt odd and weird. But there's something nice about them just walking around the streets, like it's like
yeah. It was weird when they were in San Francisco asking for the nuclear vessel. Yes. And it's like nowadays in the world we live in now, they would have been like detained immediately, like somebody too
I guess,
oddly dressed people like asking about nuclear secrets.
mm,
They would have been immediately detained. So that was 1973. So where are you? Where did you end that one up? Bond.
we put that with Bond, James Bond, B.
Yeah, perfect.
All right, Man with a Golden Gun.
Let's go.
Oh
Justin.
boy, like this is
Ooh,
the sad thing about it. Like this is actually I would say this is kind of an iconic Bond movie. I mean,
it is.
they reference it so much, especially the what's his name? I don't remember the guy's name. Tito? Is it the little guy that's on the island? His like servant, the midget, the or dwarf,
Um,
or
oh, I forgot his
I think
name
it's
too.
Tito. But I Scaramanga, I think is his name. Like, isn't that his name? Like Scaramanga or something. It's
Something like
such a
yeah.
cool name. I'm trying to find his name. Yeah, Francisco Scaramanga,
Hmm.
and it's
And
like
he is like another like trying to be. This is Roger Moore's first like rival as
sure,
this guy,
yes,
trying
it,
to evoke the same kind of like um Goldfinger kind of relationship between them.
But the problem is that they're not really together a lot until the end. Like that's the thing with the film. That movie starts off neat though because it starts off with like a random guy on an island being like hunted by Francisco. Like I remember liking the film, but it's definitely not up there. I mean, it's Christopher Lee played the role fine, but like him running through like the House of Mirrors and like some random like an obstacle course stuff at the end is kind of cheesy and weird.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I did like the concept of like you fight either dueling that was different. Like it was like a gun duel, but you had to run around, not like a Western gun duel.
It
But
was it was the guy who was like trying to test his skills against James Bond. He wasn't like he did have like some of like the supervillain,
sure,
like plan stuff.
but he invited him for this fight. That was all it
Yeah,
was.
this was Bond. Like this is the kind of like the Batman in his rogues gallery type of thing. Like because he exists now, this person is
Mhm.
like you know anyway, with an actor like Christopher Lee, you can't ask for a better like villain to play against, or somebody who's going to take that so seriously, like the idea of like the golden gun, the one shot he can get. By the way, his servant's name, Knick Knack.
Knick Knack. Oh, good Tito.
Knick
Where'd I
Knack.
get Tito from?
Yeah.
I
Oh,
would say
he
not
was
as
in the Love Boat. He was in the Love. No, Fantasy Island.
was it Tito there.
I think that might have been his name in Fantasy Island.
That's
Something.
what I'm thinking of. So I would put it at Q. Like we have Q as like I mean nothing's wrong with Q. I just was
It's,
trying to be funny.
yeah,
But
but it's in the C tier.
yeah, I would put it there. I wouldn't put it as bad as Diamonds Are Forever for sure. Uh,
No, and that's sad to think how poorly that one really is like over time. Like,
all right, so The Spy That Loved Me. I actually thought this was one of the better Roger Moore films as far as like it was less silly than some of the other ones, except for Jaws. That's the only thing that was kind of silly because
well, I mean, and that kind of silliness is not like it's not like wacky or goofy so much as it's like, ooh, there's a weird like looking villain or an interesting kind of villain. I don't know. It is all right. It's
I mean, he
it's
beats
easy
him.
to
He
tell.
beats him in this
All
movie
right,
by like shocking him because he has metal teeth. Like, but like
his his,
it.
his skiing also isn't is just
Oh yeah, for
fine camera work there, man. Fine
sure.
special effects.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I would, I, I don't know where to put that one. Like, I
I
would actually put a Q as well, personally.
I put it in B.
You think B? Well, I guess that's true because B and then
Um,
Moonraker was horrible. Like, I'm sorry.
this if you were gonna rank the Roger Moore ones, wouldn't you put this one
Yeah, that's
close to
down.
the top?
That's down at the bottom. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so I was just making sure we're putting, uh,
Bond, James
and then
Bond.
Moonraker is going to be the
Oh
worst.
yes, please don't even bother. Can we not talk about?
Well, the thing with Moonraker that I thought was weird is like this is where they started doing recurring roles. He brought Jaws back into the movie, and I just thought that was kind of like a weird thing. He actually finds like a girl at the end, which I thought was fun. Like at the end, there's a girl that like helps him and saves him. You actually root for Jaws a little bit, like you feel bad for him. It's
It
so
is
weird.
weird.
It's
Like,
so
why
weird.
did this character need to be redeemed
I
of
don't
all?
because people liked him. I guess I don't know, but yeah, Moonraker is an odd movie. Like it's I just
I
I give it respect for trying to do something weird. That's like put it like but yeah, it's
cool sets and cool gadgets and
yeah.
things, but it's silly and sort of entertaining, but mostly
Um yeah, so we'll put that at the bottom. For Her Eyes Only. I when I watched the trailer for this,
for your eyes only.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't remember this one that much, to be quite honest. I don't.
This is the Roger Moore one, and this is like um it's a very serious.
Yeah, you're
It's the
right.
one where they tried being more of like a later like Sean Connery one, like much more serious.
I do remember that, but it's like I don't have enough like memory to like give it a true ranking. Like I don't really, even after
Well,
watching the trailer.
I think it's like I don't remember much about it either. I don't, other than like I knew that people weren't crazy about it because
I
watching
am.
more, they were just kind of like used to them being sort of silly, and this one is like, let's eliminate all the silliness,
Hmm.
make this as like straight as possible, no comedic. So some people were like, yeah, okay.
I like the poster.
Mm,
It's just a butt.
yeah, I wouldn't mind. I put this in like never seen because
Yeah, I put that in not enough intelligence. Um, that's what I wrote. For there. Octopussy.
and this is 80. What year are we at now?
Oh, I don't know.
80,
I don't know the years. What year is Octopussy?
83. Wow, there's two that come out in 83.
Really? No, 80. Oh, well, there's a reason for that. There is a reason for that. Because Never Say Never Again is not affiliated with the rest of them.
Okay.
Um, but yeah,
Oh, so
so Octopussy though,
see.
um, I, I vaguely remember this. I did like the fact that it brought back like Russian plots a little bit more, but like I don't really remember it being. I almost would put this down here or even a Q. I
Well,
almost go ahead.
wherever you want to put it, as low as you want to put it, because I remember it vaguely, and
Yeah,
it's
me
one of
too.
the least favorite of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it down enough intelligence. I feel like it's in this ranking. I'm gonna give
Okay.
it a D. I don't think it was like horrific from what I remember. I almost say yeah, I would put a D for fun of it. I'm just for the fact that they were willing to go
It's in
Octopussy.
C. You're putting it in C.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
And you're putting it in D. Do you want to put it in C?
No, no, no. I wanted to put it in. It's not as good as Doctor No or any other. Yeah.
Put it down. Down, down. Kick down.
All right. So Never Say Never Again. Oddly enough, I own this movie, but I've never watched it. This is the one where Sean Connery came back to making a Bond movie, but it was made by a different company. It was a remake or retelling of Thunderball, oddly enough.
Really?
And it was like him being an older person, I guess, an older version of Bond. It was directed by Irvin Kershner, which I thought was really interesting. Like,
Okay.
so I was reading like reviews on this and the Wikipedia for it. Oddly enough, it was successful. It didn't do as good as Octopussy as far as like budget or anything like that. As far as sale, like box office,
Sure.
whatever. But like it was like really well reviewed. Like you watch the trailer for this though, it's just the quality of it feels different. Like the cinematography is very different than any other Bond movie you've watched. It's very unique. The lighting's different. It's weird seeing Sean Connery be like an older person doing it, but I guess a lot of people liked it. So they probably were. It's probably maybe more nostalgia too because Sean Connery came back. Um,
So was it supposed to be like him saying goodbye to the character? Like
no, he wanted. They were supposed to do another one, I guess, and that's where the whole thing came in, where the Casino Royale thing. They were going to make that next with him, but then he just said, "I don't want to do it anymore." Like he just decided he didn't want to do it, wasn't going to do it, and then it was just like a battle of like trying to make a Casino Royale movie, but they didn't have the rights, or I don't know. It was like you can read Wikipedia if you want to look into it, but it was like it was like weird. Like he just I don't know why he didn't want to do it again. Maybe he just felt like I don't want to do another Bond movie again. Who knows? Like I don't really know that part, but I have it. I bought it just because I'm like, oh, it's a Bond movie. I'll just buy it, and then found out it wasn't like in my mind. It wasn't canon in the sense, like
yeah.
like
You're the only one bothering with canon though. Like they don't even care.
I know. But yeah, so it's like kind of like a side Bond movie in a way, because it's just a retelling of it. Just to me, I think what bugged me, it doesn't have the original Q because like that's one the consistency is a lot of the other actors in the Bond movies are all the same.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They try to keep those kind of
Yeah,
consistent.
like Bond changes, but like M's all usually the same, Q's the same, Felix is usually the same. Um, so like just seeing a different Q really threw me off. Like even when they changed from the original Q in the Pierce Brosnan movies to like, I love the replacement because I love the actor. Oh my gosh, what's his name? He's from Monty Python, and I can't remember his name.
Oh, John Cleese.
John Cleese.
Yes.
So yeah, he
Yeah.
replaces the original Q, and I thought that was a good replacement.
Mhm.
But yeah, I would put. I've never seen it, so I'm just putting it at the bottom.
Okay. I'm ready to talk about our next one here. I do have, unfortunately, some experience with this one.
Fortunately,
View,
I like this one.
1985's A View to a Kill. Uh, it is. This is why I didn't like the Roger Moore movies,
He's a lot older in this one.
and it's a lot less funny.
Oh
Uh,
come
the jokes
on!
do not land in this one. I'm sorry.
I
It's
I
you
love
know,
View to the Kill. I don't know why. I personally love View to the Kill because
I have no nostalgia for this,
I love
and I
Christopher
will not
Walken.
allow you to put it above a B.
I won't put it above a B. I don't love I love it because of the cheeses, but I love the character Mayday who's in this movie. I think she's
All right.
I don't know. I think maybe the part of it too, Beauty the Kill, is like it was always on TV. Like they played this one a lot. Like I don't know if it's just because it was newer, maybe because it was
Yeah, 1985, like TV rights. Yeah, we saw this a lot.
yeah. So like I constantly watched this one. So like I just like that was like kind of like I would say maybe it's possible that this was the introductory to Bond movies for me. Who knows? I don't even know what started it to be quite honest. But
I
I
know what mine was. It's coming up soon.
oh
My
really?
first Bond movie. Yeah, my first like actual Bond movie that I watched.
I can't remember because all the marathons and stuff. My dad used to kind of watch it with me sometimes. So like I mean, we didn't own any of them when I was younger. I just would watch it on whatever, probably USA, our favorite network.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
But I'll put it at Q. I don't think it was like horrible. I don't think it's as bad as Moonraker.
Mm, they're cut from the same cloth.
Sure,
They're around the same. All
I
right,
can't let it go lower than Q. I can't or this letter. All right, Living Daylights.
time to talk about the next shift in Bond portrayals to Timothy Dalton,
Yeah, it didn't last very long, unfortunately.
87.
Um, Living Daylights. I've watched one time, and I remember being extremely disappointed with this movie.
I have not seen this movie. Timothy Dalton, I'm sorry, I take it back. I have seen this movie. I have seen like the last hour and 20 minutes of it. Like I missed the
Oh,
first bit of it,
okay.
watching it at my grandma's house with my dad.
Oh, okay.
That's how we were just like looking for something to watch,
Just threw it on.
and this
Yep.
came on. And he was like, "This is James Bond." He was like, "Do you want to watch?" And I was like, "Okay, sure." I had never even heard of it. I was like, "Okay," and it was like a spy like movie, and I was like, "Okay," but it was interesting enough with commercials while I was at my grandma's house, which
Sure.
usually was the like mind-numbingly boring, just as a child at that time. But
I think the problem with this movie, which is really there's a few things
mhm,
I'll say, is the Bond girl and Timothy Dalton have no chemistry whatsoever.
nope.
Um, I don't
Two
even
different
know,
movies.
huh?
Two different movies. You could make a claim as if they were acting in two different movies.
Very true. Like I think she was like a violinist or like she worked in the orchestra or something weird. I remember watching the trailer and there was like a shot. I don't know if you watched the trailer for this one, but like
Oh,
they're on like a roller coaster at one point and it looks so cheesily bad. Like what is this? Why is that's not James Bond? Like who is this actor? Like I feel like it's weird because like I would put it here at the bottom, like easy enough. I can't put it any higher than that. Like it's just I don't remember liking it. The villain was weird. Oddly enough, the actor who plays the villain eventually becomes a good guy in later Bond movies. Like it's just
and
so weird.
here's the thing: when you consider, if you may have, like, as you were looking through these things, considered rewatching some of these films, I must ask you, implore you, Justin, do not rewatch this movie. It is
Which one?
nearly unwatchable, like as it is.
Oh, The Living Daylights?
Tried watching it again like later,
Oh, you did?
and I
Yeah.
was like, this sucks. Like this is royal
So
terrible.
bad.
And I was just like, because it was, and I'm like, that's how bored I was. Like at my grandma's, I was like, oh, this is all right. Yeah, I'm into this. you know, like,
No.
but it really doesn't make a lot of sense. It's
But I feel bad because it's like
oh,
people
good
like,
action.
okay, yeah.
Yeah,
I just feel bad because it's like Timothy Dalton showed that he could be he showed he could be a good Bond or a great Bond in the next movie. Now, why he didn't become another one? Because I know because like that movie put Bond on a huge hiatus. Like it was like they didn't have another movie for what 7 years or something like that. Like
95, I think, until GoldenEye, right?
yeah,
That's
like
the
yeah, and like you got to think like the cadence they were doing Bond
yeah,
movies.
year. Like freaking from 1962, they were trying to get one out
Yeah, so like
every year.
Living Daylights came out in '87,
hmm
and then License to Kill came out in '89. So like, and A View to the Kill came out in '85. So they were doing like every 2 years by that point, Bond movies, and then they're like, nope, I guess Bond can't work anymore. We're gonna just stop making them.
So you tell me about 1989's License to Kill because this is the movie we're gonna watch together.
Yes, I am.
I,
And this is
I
a
want
hot
to know
take.
more about why you like it this so
I
much.
already told you I would put this at S tier, and I don't know why. There's the reason is because I think it's because the plot, and I'm sure if we watch it again together, we're gonna pick it apart, and there's gonna be a lot of funny things
These
to it.
movies have their flaws,
Yeah,
but why
sure,
do you
but
like it so
I appreciated it's just because like Bond goes on a revenge tour to the point that like it's not like your typical Bond's gone rogue, he's gonna save the world kind of a thing where like in the end it's everyone's like, yeah, good job Bond, where you were right the whole time. It's like no Bond like his friend Felix like gets shot by the bad guy and his wife dies and like he's like and Felix is the U.S. agent that he's like friends with
much? Yeah,
and he's like, no, I'm gonna go like get this guy, and I'm gonna stop and figure out who this villain is, and I'm gonna get revenge for my friend. He gets his license to kill taken away from him, like from MI6. Like they actually are chasing him throughout in the movie and trying to stop him.
so this is like a legitimate like if he were to actually go rogue, this is how it would happen.
Yeah, and like Timothy Dalton fit
That's
that.
interesting.
Timothy Dalton fit that role pretty well. Like I would say maybe like the MI6
Darker
stuff
version of Bond, right? Is that what you would say?
yeah, he just was more pissed off versus like compared to Roger Moore, right? Or even Sean Connery, like he was more about the revenge and the vendetta of like stopping his friend. But like again, it's like the chemistry between him and the band. It's like he had his Goldfinger, I guess. Like you know what I mean? Like I can't remember the villain's name. Unfortunately, it's not as easy to remember. But the villain's name and the actor who plays the villain is pretty well known. He was in the Goonies movie. I'm sure he did a bunch of other things, but he was one of the kids in the Goonies movie. One of the the robbers
Okay.
in the Goonies movie. What was the actor's name? It was
Fantastic.
Robert Davi. And he
Oh yes,
yeah
yes. I remember him.
yeah. And then I was looking at the cast, and Benicio del Toro was in this too. He's like his second hand man, which I thought was interesting. And
Yes,
he's like a
you
lot
had said
younger.
that to me,
He's
and
a
I was
lot
like,
younger.
when
Um,
saw the trailer, I was like, oh my gosh, like yes,
um,
he's very young.
but like
He
his
did
like
very well.
it's like he's surrounded by non-British people the whole movie too. Like it's all Americanized because he's doing because it happens all in like I think it's in Mexico is where he has to go. So he's working with the Americans to do a lot of things. There's a part where like people get eaten by a shark because they like do like mafia type stuff because it's like a cocaine drug dealer in Mexico. That's
Yes,
like your bad
yes,
guy
he's the drug lord. Yeah.
and it's like it was just such a different vibe to it. I love the chemistry between the villain and Timothy Dalton. I liked the actress that was in the movie. I mean, it's been a long time since I've seen it, but I remember when I owned the movie, like when I had these movies, I'd watch this one a lot. Like I would just constantly see it. There's the scene. I'm not trying to. I mean, I'm going to spoil it kind of, but there's
No,
a
don't spoil it. Stop.
okay. But
No.
there's a scene
No.
like later on. There's like a scene later on where like it's just like how people die in the movie. It's like it definitely had a different vibe than some of the other Bond movies, and I just liked it. I guess I don't really know how else to
Well,
explain it.
I look forward to watching it with you. I am very interested in
I,
seeing how the
please
character Bond kind of
take
plays out from back then and
yeah.
see how they.
I just it really made me really like Timothy Dalton, and it's weird because I watched License to Kill before Living Daylights. Like I watched it beforehand, I wasn't watching them in order. So when I finally watched The Living Daylights, I'm like, what the hell is this movie? like Timothy Dalton, where'd you go? Like,
Right.
but
It's yeah.
yeah, it's
It,
definitely up there for me. I'm sure people will hate this for putting this above like uh so many other Sean Connery movies. But
oh well, we take the same kind of attitude as the makers of the James Bond movies in that we don't care what people think of our choices when
sure,
we when we make them. They're our choices.
all right,
So
Pierce
let's
Brosnan
talk.
time.
You know, we've got a 6 year hiatus, so let's all just take a little stretch. Ah, no Bond for a while. For 6 years, that's it. People have said maybe Bond is over, but then we get
They even questioned Goldeneye too, like whether or not it would work,
yep.
in the modern day time.
It was wondering. They were wondering how they would do it, and they managed to pull it off.
I
And this was the most successful Pierce Brosnan one for sure.
and
1995
I,
GoldenEye.
I think for nostalgia's sake and how much of an impact this movie was, I would put this S. But if you want to argue with me, that's fine.
I'll argue you down to A, and I will agree with it going into A because it is a. There's still like leave it up there. Leave it up there for me.
I just think
All
it's
right,
like the
because
best
I'm
of the
thinking about
modern day movies.
it really is because his like rivalry with Trevelyan
Oh, it's
and
so good.
that's what really like underpins the movie and
And
it's hard to
yeah.
not think about the game when I think about
Oh,
this movie,
sure. Okay, sure.
but the
But that,
movie itself
but like even
is
that,
full
even
of powerful characters.
the game almost
It,
enhances it for me because I had so much nostalgia for the video game. Like GoldenEye became like a thing in the
yes,
'90s. You know what I mean? Like,
yes,
but like I think just the whole cast of characters is great. Like you got Famke Janssen playing Onatop,
Xenia,
Xenia Onatop,
yep.
and I loved all of the characters. I've actually rewatched this like probably a
Boris.
few months ago, Boris. Um, it's just it's so many good things. And then the Russian guy,
This was
the
our
Russian,
generation's 007 was that was
yeah.
GoldenEye was our moment.
And I think Pierce Brosnan did a great job at being James
Yep.
Bond. Like, yeah,
He
he
had the
was.
look, the right amount of like cool, but also like pretty tough at the same time. Like
Hmm.
he could do things. No, he was a very good choice for it, and he was the right kind of British gentleman. You know, that's what the modern era needed. You know,
Hmm.
for this GoldenEye
All
Bond.
right, next one. We're almost there.
95. What comes next then from
Tomorrow Never Dies.
in the rankings, these are now like we have a little bit of a slog to get through.
See, I, Tomorrow
We
Never
did have
Dies.
the 97.
Tomorrow Never Dies is a weird one for me. Like, because I remember going to see it in theaters. Like that's like kind of like the first one. Because I don't think I saw GoldenEye in theaters. I can't remember if I did or not. But Tomorrow Never Dies, I'm 100% sure I did. And I I thought the plot was interesting for a Bond movie. I don't know if you remember it at all.
Oh, I remember this plot very well. I saw this in theaters, and I was quite disappointed. I must say, I must
You didn't
say.
like the fact that he used the news to try to take over the world? Like,
Um, you know, nowadays it's not like unheard of that a
sure,
news organization would like
ahead
to
of its
push its
time.
own beliefs and
Mm.
agendas in one way to to promote its own fantasy world of what it thinks is like what our world or society should be. However, um, at this time in the '90s when this came out, it was like, get the fuck out, like
I
get out of here with
I
this.
remember enjoying the
It's
movie.
dumbest.
I don't think because there's let's just say this is not the worst Pierce Brosnan Bond
I
movie.
could think of 1,000 other things in the '90s that would make a better Bond villain than a medium.
That's true.
But it's like such a like the worst part of the '90s is what's remembered. It's like
Okay,
such
I,
a culture.
I'll give you that. Okay, so the villain, you're right. I'm with you on the Bond villain of that movie wasn't great. Okay,
Yeah.
I did like what's the what's the Asian actress's name? She's like in everything. She was in everything all at once. Um,
Oh, Michelle Yeoh.
Michelle Yeoh. She was the Bond
Yeah,
girl in this film.
she is.
So
She's
like,
fun.
and Terry Hatcher was in it. Give it, take that as you will. But like back then, that was kind of a big deal. Like I knew who Terry Hatcher was. Like the Superman man, like Lois and Clark's Superman show was big back then, and like I knew all these people. And I love the remote control car in this movie. So like, there's a part of
No,
me
no,
I do.
you.
What's wrong with the remote control car?
Justin, this is why. Okay, this movie was like the dawn of my like movie
This is where
criticism.
you started being
In
cynical.
in the theater, I was like turning to people and be like, "This is bullshit." Like,
But
I
but in comparison, to,
when he's in the car, like in the back of the car, going
I love
like
that.
playing around, lighting people
We
up.
hadn't seen a new
But
gadget in a while.
that's exactly what this movie was. It was like, let's give them more gadgets.
Sure.
Who really cares about the story? We'll focus on more
Okay.
Brosnan, more gadgets, more fun characters. This was a classic Bond blunder. This is like, oh, we'll
Okay.
focus on the wrong things.
I
But look,
I I
I
am
will
going
give
to.
them credit. I want to just give them some credit here
Okay.
from Goldeneye, and now like the cast of characters having Jodan Baker in this is awesome too. Mitchell, he's in these.
Oh, is he in this?
That's like his American friend, like the
Okay.
Texas guy with his big 10-gallon hat. That's Jodan Baker. That's Mitchell.
Hmm.
Mitchell.
I see. Personally, I'm not going to push this to go like super high by any means, but I don't think it's. I would put it here.
You can go down one more, and then we'll be in agreement.
Well, I can't because the next movie is worse than this one.
Is it? Oh,
World is not enough is way worse than Tomorrow Never Dies.
I didn't finish it. This is I didn't see it in theaters, but I just
I saw it in
stopped
theaters.
watching it.
Oh, so you didn't see the last line of the movie? It's the best one.
No, what is it?
Okay, see, remember this is with Denise Richards, so like already it's not great,
Oh no.
right? Okay, so it's just boobs. Like the villain's so bad,
Listeners,
like it's just,
viewers.
and it's Denise Richards as a nuclear scientist.
Oh my God. All right, listeners, viewers, we need to clear the air about Denise Richards. I'm sure she's a nice person, and I've seen her in other things where she is an excellent actress. But she has this tendency in movies where maybe there's not great direction, or maybe there's not a strong chemistry on set. She just looks like she's blankly staring
Sure.
into the
Oh
into
yeah.
the into the void, like she's looking through you, like she has no soul.
Yep.
But
Yep.
that is because it's like, hello, is anybody home?
Yep.
Having her as like a starship pilot in Starship Troopers was like,
Yeah.
okay.
But see,
Having
it
her as a
her her
nuclear
her.
scientist,
To be
guess
fair,
what?
like that acting worked in Starship Troopers because that was the point. Like it was, you know what I
Yes.
mean?
Well, yeah, they were encouraging that kind of like overacting.
Sure.
Yes,
But yeah,
but
in this, her being a nuclear
yeah.
scientist in this movie was horrible, and like the other Bond girl
Isn't her
that's like more.
name isn't her name like like Clover Magoo or
No,
something?
her last name is Christmas, and I'm trying to
That's
find.
it.
Yeah, I'm trying to find what her character's name is. Um,
Was-
Oh no, it's Christmas Jones, and here's You know, we should just watch this movie together. But still, like, it is that bad. It's good. It is really bad. But the
Dr.
line,
Christmas Jones sounds like something we would have come up with because we put Jones on the end of something whenever we can't think of a last name. It's like Dr. Christmas
but
Jones.
the last line of the movie. You ready?
Yeah.
I thought Christmas only comes once a year.
Oh, yeah. I do remember that. I do remember that.
This is why I argue that Tomorrow Never Dies is better than World Is Not Enough, and that goes here.
I will. I will agree to that. I will agree to that. Have we gotten through this '90s slog yet?
You're so yeah. Now. Here's
Okay.
the thing: we're gonna probably disagree on this
Now
one.
we emerge. Now we emerge, right? Because now we get to Die Another Day, right?
Yes.
Isn't that the next one?
See, I
This
thought
one,
was good.
I was only I didn't mean to call the D tier Die Another Day earlier when we were thinking about them. I just couldn't. I know this is like it's all right.
Okay. Now, the reason I like Die Another Day is because it kind of brought back Bond cheesiness a little bit. That like good Bond cheesiness, sort of like from the Roger Moore days. Because it was a cheesy movie, but like I just thought it was more fun and like I don't know what it was. I liked the villain. I liked the cast. I thought what's her name, Halle Berry in it was okay, and
Yeah.
even like the other girl that was in the movie who actually plays Moraine in Wheel of Time, which I thought just to throw that
Oh
out there.
yes. Oh, what's her name?
I can't remember her name either.
Rosamund Pike.
Yeah.
Rosamund.
So like I remember really thought this was a big step up. It wasn't as good as Goldeneye, but like
No.
it was better than Tomorrow Never Dies and way better than World's Not Enough. So I would be. I don't think it's this tier, but I would definitely put it at least here, like
Where are
with
you saying?
the B
You into Bond? Yeah, I would put this in the B tier.
the B
Yeah,
tier.
it's okay.
Like I think it's a
Yeah,
good Bond movie. It's fun.
it's a
The
competent movie. It's
Yeah,
not, and it doesn't overstay its welcome.
yeah.
It's a tight 90. I remember this
It's
being
tight
like,
minded.
okay,
Is it tight
it's
minded?
closer to that though. Like it
Yeah.
was definitely like we can make an efficient Bond story with cool characters, and it doesn't have to be crazy gadgets all the time or
Hmm.
product placement, which is another reason why these '90s ones blow on the for the most part because they are filled with product placement.
You gotta just not
That's
pay
another
attention to that
thing that,
stuff.
but that's like another just symptom of the '90s. All right, like of
Sure.
these particular ones.
And to make money,
Like
to make the
maybe it
movie, I
was
guess.
in the older ones as well, but I don't know. Maybe because that kind of advertising didn't really work on me, or it didn't really like. I don't know. I didn't really
Well,
notice
you
it,
didn't know the
but
brand. You didn't know the brands. Like I mean, they did
but I mean,
cars and stuff all the time in the old
sure,
movies.
sure. But in this one, it just feels so like in Die Another Day and the world is not enough. Yeah,
Tomorrow Never Dies had a lot of
yeah.
branding in it. You're right, it did. All right,
Telling you, man, that one like changed my life in
no,
theaters as I watched it, but not in a good way.
it's funny.
Well, maybe in a good way.
Yeah, I know if it's changed your life. I mean, I feel like that's a very good movie for
Yeah,
you. Then if it changed your life.
was in.
Casino Royale, like Daniel
Now we get
Craig.
real tone shift.
Yeah, like so it's a reboot if you want to call it that, because
Sure.
because it does it actually redoes a lot of the storylines from the Sean Connery movies as you go through it. Because Blunfield comes back, Spectre is a thing. Because Spectre is a big thing in the beginning movies. Um,
Yep.
but I personally, because you have Mad Mikkelsen playing the villain in Casino Royale, I loved Casino Royale when it
It's
released,
good.
and I don't think it's like top tier Bond movie, but I would almost put it at Agent because I thought it was,
I get this. Yeah,
you
I
know what I
agree.
mean? Like it
No, it's
didn't.
good.
Yeah, I thought it was a good
These
movie.
Daniel Craig ones, they're very like for the most part they are mostly hits. Like they're not like
Sure,
there's not really any that are like they like are really terrible. Like they're all watchable movies.
absolutely. Yep.
But go on. Yes,
Yeah. So
I would definitely agree. Like,
I enjoy. I thought it was interesting. Like the ending was like more dramatic. Like he loses the girl. Like she dies at the end. It was kind of sad, sort of like more of a tragic ending. It wasn't trying to be uh all about Bond being the romantic person. He was more serious and like about the job more, all that stuff. Like, yeah, he still did like the Sean Connery things and girls, 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 but like it wasn't as
Yes.
flamboyant. Um, but then Quantum of Solace, though, like I wasn't as big on that one. That's
Not
a
long before.
that I think it was just like the storyline. I don't think like Daniel Craig did fine. I don't know
But
where to put this
could I
one.
could I ask you this? And I really think this is like a question of when this came out and how it was released, because you can't really. It's very hard to top Casino Royale.
It was really good. You're right.
So whatever was going to come after it is going to always be compared to that. If this was like a any of the other ones, any of the other actors in a movie with the same storyline, we would be putting it in A B territory, no problem.
Sure.
Like it's like it's really high stakes, or yeah, and it moves really quickly. It's a good movie, but it's the fact that this is immediately after the Casino Royale. I think this one suffers a lot because of that. I
Yeah.
would almost like give this one another try again. It was all right, if
Hmm.
I'm being honest. But it, especially
I
Casino Royale, really set a high bar,
Well,
and
that's what
this
I
one.
was thinking about too after watching the trailer. Because rewatched the trailer today of Quantum of
Yeah,
Solace. Like Casino Royale set up because I mean, being a Bond fan like I was, like I knew all the characters, I knew where it was referencing, I knew Spectre, and I knew all that. I knew that it was building to that Spectre type of storyline, and I feel like it was setting up like that's what you're going to do. You're going to just follow this Blunfeld, and it's going to be more of a deeper version of that. But then Quantum of Solace still followed it, but it didn't have a good payoff like in the end because like, it was all about like him being like an environmentalist, and it just like his like methods and motivations weren't really appealing, and I don't know what it was. Like it was just something about it.
this would have been fine as a made-for-TV movie, or if it was like released to a streaming service,
Like you're right.
like a
Yeah, you're right.
commercial,
You're
not an
right.
official Bond movie, but like a Bond tale,
So
a James Bond story.
I wouldn't put it like it's horrific. I would put it here. It makes me feel bad. Like I feel like it's better than these movies though. Like
No, but
for
it belongs there for other reasons. Well, but it's not. It's certainly not in the D tier. No, I don't think it's as bad as people make
hold
it
on,
out.
we're gonna
It
do
just I
something
feel
here.
like it had a lot of bad luck, and it just wasn't the thing to follow up with Casino Royale. What comes after? Is it Skyfall?
Yeah, but hold on a second. I'm gonna add a tier. Better than Q.
Better than Q.
I'm just gonna
It's
put
like
I'm just gonna put that on its own tier.
it's somewhere in between. You make the rules, man. All right.
Skyfall.
So
Um,
this, to me, and I'm just gonna say it straight up. I think this was one that belongs in yes.
do you? Okay. I thought
I
so.
think
I can remember enough, and if you say it's gonna be, I'm gonna probably
film, like yeah, as a Bond movie, it's great, and as just like a film, it's great. Like the opening sequence where he gets shot by the sniper, the new
sure.
Moneypenny.
Hmm.
Who like first of all, great introduction to a character that you're going to be working with. Having them miss and like shoot you in the shoulder, nearly kill you.
Very true. Yeah.
Um, and the ending of this movie is a really great payoff because it's like part of Casino Royale's like appeal was like getting rid of all the gadgets and kind of the silliness from the Pierce Brosnan ones that were still kind of there.
Hmm.
They wanted like a much more like realistic, hard, and gritty um, James Bond. But I love this because it embraces that in a more like old fashioned assassin kind of way. There's much more knife work in this
Yeah.
Bond movie,
Well,
and that's what
the villain was great too, right? Like the villain was really good.
yeah
They had that one scene where he's like in a chair, like in like a big open like outdoor space. I can't remember what it was, but like he's like interrogating Bond, like the villain. He's like in a white suit. Like I love.
And it's what's his name who was in No Country for Old Men, played Anton Chigurh, and I can't remember his name. Javier Bardem.
Oh, okay.
He plays a double O agent
Yeah.
who goes rogue and is basically like goes after is it M? He
Well,
goes
he
after
kills him at the end.
yes, he does. But his like motivation is because like she was supposed to like protect them or like he basically was like you turned us into killers, like you turned us into these monsters.
Okay.
And so he's like not he's not wrong in his assessment, but he's also like psychotic, like he's gone crazy. It's like
I agree with that. I'm surprised you want to go that high, but
yeah, well,
because
it's
usually I'm expecting you to go lower because that's just generally what you.
no, and like this movie's beautiful
Oh
too.
yeah,
Like
the ending
and then
shot
you get
with
to
them
the
in the
end.
house, like the
Beautiful.
burn down house, all that stuff. It's I need to rewatch it. It's been a long time, but I remember really being like impressed by it.
I
Uh,
watched it on a plane and I was like, I need to see this again. When I got like home, I watched it again. Like I needed to see it on a big screen, like really hear it. But it was
song,
good on a plane and it was even better like seeing it
the
like
song's good too by Adele.
yeah, Adele.
All right, now Spectre. Here's the thing: it's hard when you like. I just watched this yesterday.
You're gonna have to help me here because this is one I have
Um,
not seen.
I don't. It's hard to rank things without your opinion because I don't know if I want you want to be spoiled by it, so I don't know how to talk about it.
It's okay.
Okay,
You can tell me a
so
little. Spoiler alert.
going through the movie, I actually was really liking it. Like I think I messaged you halfway through, right? I'm like, this is really good. It's kind of like it's funny how you like Skyfall because it got rid of the gadgets. Well, guess what? They come back.
Coming back to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like this one did feel like your cheesy Bond movie in a way. Like I would say I wouldn't say
Not
it's
super.
cheesy, but like it definitely had a lot of references to cheesy Roger Moore movies. Like I almost feel like they were doing it on purpose. Like it literally starts off with the Day of the Dead. Like they're in the Day of the Dead, and you see skeleton people like dressed up, which is live and let die. And the beginning is really cool. He kills somebody. He gets a message from M about finding this guy, and it pretty much him being introduced to Bloodfeld for the first time. Like that's
Okay.
what happens. Um, it it was really neat the progression of it. Like I was intrigued by it. He gets to meet characters from other movies again. That he's like he learns what Spectre is because Spectre is like this. It's sort of in a sense like Hydra
AI.
it's Hydra from like Captain America. Like it's a network of people that affects everywhere and everything. And the actor who plays Blunfeld is weird. It's like there's parts about him I don't like, but I don't know
Christoph
if that's
Waltz, right?
huh.
Is it Christoph Waltz?
I think so.
He was in Django Unchained, and
Yes. But like
he's great. He's a great actor.
so like it I was really liking it, and then I'm thinking the movie's ending, and it's like that's gonna be the end. But then there's another 40 minutes of the movie. And it's like, or well, maybe I'm over exaggerating, but like the
Okay.
pacing, the pacing got weird, and like you thought the guy was dead, but then he's not dead. You don't know, I don't know how, but then it got like he's got a messed up eye, and it just like the way it ended was so odd in relation to, I guess, the pacing of the movie. It's like it threw me off, like the whole second half of the movie. So
Okay.
like I don't know how
Fair enough. Like, so it's like a weird, like, kind of
like
the actual
I
like story choice, like how they
I, I almost want
put
to
it
like
together.
yeah, like half of the movie is like, oh, this is a really good Bond movie. It's like there's something about like they have like some like kind of like discussions about him having choices of whether to be a spy or not be a spy, and there was like some sort of like deeper conversation, but then there was some just those weird like cuts that didn't make sense. Like it just like odd choices as far as like editing and just pacing and jumping from one shot to the other. There's like a whole part where they're just like just to give an example. And I know I don't mean this to make the long form review, But like after the whole thing where I thought the movie was over, it's like, okay, now we got to go stop this other bad guy because you think that there's another bad guy, and like
Yeah.
it's just like, and MI6 has been like destroyed, like it's no longer in service. Like they kind of like they closed it and shut it down, and like, but it's like all of them, like M, like the new M, Money Penny and Q and another guy are off to go stop the bad guy, and it's like a 5 minute shot of them just like nothing's happening and them just sitting in a car, just driving, just driving,
Uh,
just driving. Like I'm like, okay, what's happening here? Like, what are we doing? And it's
Towards the end of the movie here.
yeah, it's just I, yeah, and you know me, I'm usually more or less critical on things. And I
But
was
if
just
it's something like that, then it's noticeable, and
yeah,
it's like
and it's just
if it's happening, then it's
yeah, it was too much. I think they were trying to force Blunfeld into this movie,
mm,
or they didn't do
like
a good job at
begins kind of thing. Like they wanted to like set him
like
up.
they should have set him up and then let him live, but they don't. They capture him in the end, but like it's like they sort of like introduce then transform and like it's odd. Like I don't know where I want to put it, but like I kind of want to just put it here just because of the ending. Like
Okay.
I'd be curious what you
No,
think
I
if you
mean
see it.
that's it's funny because it has like really mixed reviews,
Yeah, because the
and
first half is good.
I bet those are exactly the same kinds of sentiments people are echoing like that.
Like
Like there's some really solid stuff here, but like what's going on? Like this trying to do this in the movie was not a good idea.
like they should have kept with the tone of what they're trying to do. They kind of added too much. I was liking the adding of silliness, like
Mhm.
the campy gadgets and stuff like that. But like then like at the end I'm just like, okay, well I don't it didn't know what it was trying to be. I guess I don't know. It was like it was odd. It was like, and then of course
No. Yeah.
the last one is a continuation because like the character in this one does go into this one from what I remember. But I haven't
Oh,
seen it.
No Time to
I
Die. It's like a direct sequel. Like,
yeah, it's a continuation because like just to say like the Bond girl that's in Spectre is in like he doesn't get a new one like like she stays with him.
oh,
Yeah.
this is the one where he's like retired and he goes to Jamaica just like Ian.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. I didn't watch the last one yet, so I have no opinion. But I don't know.
Well, neither do I. I have not seen it
Yeah.
either.
That's why I put it at the bottom. So. But yeah, I know it was a long-winded. I know the Spectre is like odd to me. Like it's weird because I feel like I liked it better than Quantum of Solace. I liked it better, but Quantum of Solace is a better movie. It's like such an odd thing for me.
When you have to give it credit as like a like well-made movie, even if it's like it's still not the best Bond outing, but it's still a watchable movie,
Yeah.
and that's saying something. Especially we talk about that Casino Royale movie that is not canon, if you will.
So, is there anything here
Oh,
that you think we should change, or I think that's good, right? Because it's like
no, I like that ranking, but I'm looking forward to watching License to Kill. But now you got me actually wanting to watch.
Spectre.
No, no, the
Oh,
world is not enough.
oh. Hey, I'll watch
Is that
both.
the one that you were like, yes?
It's so bad.
Uh,
I remember our
but
friend.
I would watch Spectre. I would watch these last like couple, like Spectre, and then No Time to Die. I want to see how it ends.
Yeah. No, I've enjoyed Daniel
It's
Craig.
actually his end, right? Is No Time to Die? That's
Yep,
the end.
that's his last one. I don't know if they don't have any plans for any more, but that I know
Yeah,
of.
I wonder if
There was rumors that they're going to transition to a girl Bond or like Idris Elba was an idea, like just try to like
I remember that. That's an older idea. I don't
yeah,
think
but I
he's
don't
gonna
know.
put
I feel like that's weird. Like I don't know. Like I
He's
would
got to take another hiatus for a little while.
yeah. Like I mean, no time. I don't even know how if this last one was considered a good movie or not. The trailer looks fun, but like it came out like the the tail end of COVID, so it's like it got delayed a bunch. I know because of COVID and Who knows if that affected it or not? Because theaters were affected by things, but
Spoiler alert, I bet we'll put it in the James Bond tier. I bet it'll
you
just
better just go there.
I bet it will. We don't have to, but I will. I think we should watch it though, and judge it on its merits. But this was fun. It was really fun to go. Especially, I really have not. I feel like I've learned so much too from doing this about like the progression between the characters in this big story. Not Bond himself, but like uh, Sean Connery to Roger Moore, George Lazenby in
Yeah,
there,
there's Lazenby.
Timothy Dalton's like tragic kind of choice. Um, it's like Timothy Dalton is what Daniel Craig is now. They tried to do that with Timothy Dalton back then,
Yeah, but I think
and nobody wanted it.
they started Timothy. I mean, I don't know if he just looks older than he is because he just looks like an older Bond. Like he was almost too old, even though Roger Moore was like super old at the end in comparison. But still, it's like
And they started him with a campy one, but
yeah.
it didn't really work that way.
Even the poster looks bad for Living Daylights. It's just,
Clothing.
but no, I think it's a good Bond. A good. I mean, I wonder what would happen if we rewatched a lot of them and then readjust. But I think this is a good
I think
ranking.
they'd end up in about the same place. I
Yeah.
I, I bet Spectre would move though, but that's one I think I'd come back to. And if we want to, maybe
Yeah,
we'll
like I
have to
like
do
this.
a full.
It's so hard. It's like I want to move it
Story.
around. Like I just like I don't know where to put it. Like yeah,
That's where it belongs. It really does. If
yeah.
you
I
can't
feel like
really rank it,
yeah, I think you're
doesn't
right.
have enough
Like
merits
the
to
end,
warrant.
the ending is it bugs me way too much. But I overall liked
You
it.
drag in the middle, but dragging an ending is really that's like kicking the audience in the nards. Like
Like one thing I'll say at the end, like the ending was fine, like the very final thing, but it's just like the final
yeah.
like the final battle, I guess, because it was another one. Like they already had one, sort of. Like
Oh,
it's hard to explain.
no, I get it. It's like ending fatigue when you get like you're like, okay, how much more is there? Like, okay, that's it. We've got the resolution. Oh no, he's still alive.
Like let's put it this way: there's a thing that happens where I'm like watching the movie and I'm just like, all of a sudden they get separated. But then like there's a point where I'm like Bond's by himself and then they're doing something else, and I'm like, what is Bond doing right now? Like it just like I forgot what happened. Like it's like I'm like,
Is
why
this a
is he
Bond
in?
movie? Where is he?
Like no, but no, you show what he's doing, but like, why is he in this building and there in that building? Like, how did that happen? I forgot. Like, like
Just total like, oh, I was watching the
it's like
movie,
what?
but I think
Like
some of it passed before my eyes without me seeing it.
anyway.
Happens to me with some movies too. Depends on the movie, but someone will be like, they'll show up in a scene and be like,
It's kind of like the other
"That's
group.
here." Oh,
The other group they solve the problem. They stop it, and I'm just like, but Bond's like doing all this stuff. He's like jumping around and doing all these things. I'm like, what is he doing? Why is he doing it? But then I'm like, finally, I like it clicked. I'm like, oh, that's why he's here. I remember now.
oh my gosh. You know, with um we the one thing we didn't do, the one thing we didn't rank, and I'll just ask you point blank, and you don't have to rank them.
Oh, I know you
Who
know.
is your favorite? Who is your favorite Bond?
I don't know. As far as like, I kind of want to say Pierce Brosnan. I don't know if it's because it's just because he was a. I really liked him as a Bond. You know, whether his movies were good or not.
He fit that role really well. Like
Like he
that's the
just
thing.
felt like
He's a really great casting.
yeah, he just felt like he was an actual agent in an intelligence service that could do the things that he was doing. Granted, yes, they were like extreme and over the top, but like Roger
Not
Moore
too
couldn't.
terribly.
I don't think Roger Moore could do anything that he does in the movie. I don't think he could.
He can't ski.
Well, no, like I don't think he's a person that could like get girls to sleep with him or do the things that he.
about this guy?
Oh,
He's like,
he's jacked. They show him in the trailer like for the first movie. He's like,
I'm like, you're not looking at it like pretty boy looks. Is that what you're looking for? Like,
I don't
he's
know.
a secret agent. He might actually like just look like a normal dude a
Well,
little bit.
I know Pierce Brosnan was people were like questioning too. Like everyone questions the new casting now. It's like,
Hmm.
but but yeah, Pierce Brosnan just fits it more. Like I would say if I ranked it, it would be Pierce Brosnan, probably Sean Connery, Daniel Craig. I only because Sean Connery is just too iconic. It's just hard to me to put Daniel Craig above him, even though
You
he's
know, there and that's a testament to Daniel Craig is that he's like really captured that essence of the character. And that's my same like 1-2 is Sean Craig. Like I really
yeah.
like
And
Daniel Craig's
and
portrayal.
honestly, I would put George
And
Lazenby over
Roger
Roger.
Moore.
Well, no, then I would do after Daniel Craig, Timothy Dalton, and
Ooh.
then George Lazenby, and then Roger Moore. And I love Roger Moore. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I enjoy his
But he's
antics.
responsible for so much schlock. It's
Is it
he's got to
really?
take some responsibility too.
Is it really him?
Take some responsibility, Roger. All right, Justin, this has been good.
Yep.
Been real fun. Uh, really going down the memory lane of Bond marathons. Really had to stretch my brain for all the details
A
from
lot of
the
work.
Octopussy movie. But anyways, no, this has been a lot of fun. I can't wait for us to do another tier list. But in the meantime, please check out our other things, our other podcast episodes, reviews, and whatnot. Uh, but as always, this is Playing Favorites. I'm Paul.
I'm Justin.
Have a good one.